morning. Before calling this meeting to order, I'll note for the record that I'll serve as acting chair of this meeting. I now call to order the meeting of the directors of the Bond Finance Committee of the New York State Urban Development Corporation, DBA Empire State Development, for Thursday, October 15, 2015. Directors have received the written materials in advance of this meeting. They're free to ask questions at any time. As noted on the agenda posted to the internet, we welcome public comment on the items on the following agenda. To ensure maximum opportunity for participation, the speakers representing themselves may speak for up to 2 minutes each, and those representing groups may speak for up to 4 minutes with one speaker per group. Speakers' comments may address only items considered at today's meeting. Before we begin with the substantive portion of the meeting, I'd like to ask the directors whether anyone has any potential conflict of interest with respect to today's agenda item. If so, I would ask you to please make an appropriate disclosure on the record at this time. We'll be sure that you may recuse yourself from any discussion or vote with respect to the item. Hearing none. There is only one item on today's agenda, so it better be good. That item relates to the state personal income tax revenue bonds and is presented by Rob Godley.
Thank you and good morning. Today we are seeking authorization to submit an application to the Public Authorities Control Board. We are also requesting the committee's approval of the appointment of bond counsel in connection with the proposed issuance of state personal income tax revenue bonds, Series 2015 and Series 2016. The bonds are authorized by multiple project acts as amended and supplemented, related appropriation acts as amended and supplemented, and the Tax Revenue Act. Pursuant to the project acts, UDC is authorized to assist in the financing of certain correctional and youth facilities, economic development projects, housing, transportation projects, various capital projects, and equipment projects. In addition, UDC may issue bonds to refund bonds previously issued by the corporation or other state entities in accordance with the state finance laws. UDC intends to issue one or more series of revenue bonds pursuant to a general resolution of the corporation called State Personal Income Tax Revenue Bonds General Resolution. The bonds will be issued as fixed-rate debt in an amount not to exceed $2.8 billion, including bonds to pay for the cost of issuance in connection with the sale. It is anticipated that the bonds will be issued in two or more series. The 2015 bonds will be issued by the end of this calendar year, and the Series 2016 bonds are anticipated to be issued by March 2016. Bonds will be issued on either a competitive or a negotiated basis. The bonds will be special obligations of the corporation and payable from and secured by amounts paid to the corporation by the state, acting by and through the Division of Budget, pursuant to a financing agreement between the corporation and the state. We are also requesting approval for the appointment of Hawkins, Delafield & Wood, LLP, and the law offices as Joseph C. Reed, P.A., to be appointed as co-bond counsels. Hawkins has not served as bond counsel since 2011. This is a large transaction financing numerous projects requiring experienced counsel and extensive tax counsel due diligence. Hawkins has substantial PIT bond experience. Joseph C. Reed is a certified MWBE who has previously provided excellent service as bond counsel for the corporation. The appointment of these firms represents an equitable distribution of work among UDC's rotating slate of firms to handle the corporation's appropriation debt in terms of size of transaction, fees, the length of time since their last engagement, and the total number of transactions. Now I can provide you with some details about the bond issues as they currently stand. The Series 2015 bonds will be issued before calendar year end, and this bond size is estimated to be about $1.5 billion and will be primarily for new money, and there may be also a refunding component. The bonds will be most likely issued on a competitive basis, and because of the size of the issue, will most likely consist of multiple tranches, as we have done with past large transactions. For example, one tranche will be the taxable bonds, another tranche will be tax-exempt bonds with maturities less than 10 years, and another tranche will be tax-exempt bonds with maturities greater than 10 years. Dividing the offering into 3 competitive tranches, each having small dollar amounts, has in the past attracted large best bids from the underwriters. The Series 2016 bonds will most likely be issued in late February or early March 2016 and will be approximately $1 billion. Proceeds from this bond offering will be used to refund bonds that have been previously issued by the ESD and other state entities. This transaction will most likely be issued on a negotiated basis, and a request for information will be sent to ESD's slate of senior underwriters. The response to this RFI will determine the banks who will be the lead underwriters. Since these are state-supported bond issues, Public Resources Advisory Group will be the financial advisor under DOB's contract with them. We will come back to this committee for the sale of the bonds for each of the series. This meeting is solely to obtain authorization to submit the PACB application and to appoint bond counsel. Thank you.
Any questions from the directors for Rob on this matter? We've used this counsel before, Rob?
Yes,
Now, new money means that these are going to be new bonds,
that's correct.
and then the other ones are going to be. Now, what's it going to be used for?
The new money?
Yeah.
We have a whole series of projects. In fact, if you look in your board material, you have a copy of the PACB application there, and the last page of that application has a detailed listing of the project. Rob, it's this page here.
Yeah, I see it right here. Yeah.
So what we do here now, Rob, is we raise the funds for these projects, and then our loans and grants people will then make the disbursements, as well as our colleagues up at, the Division of Budget for the state facilities and equipment.
It's interesting to see that the third largest category is correctional facilities.
That's mostly for maintenance and upkeep.
That's what?
Maintenance and upkeep of the facilities.
That's what I mean.
Mhm.
The third largest is penitentiaries.
What is CHIPS?
That's one of the transportation. It's the highway. What is this?
Infrastructure.
Highway
something.
Improvement Program.
Yeah, it's for our colleagues up at Thruway. We raise the funds for them.
Yeah, that's a great project.
Mhm.
And how often might we do this, Rob?
We normally do it once a year,
Okay.
around fall. That's when we do the new money. But if there's a need that comes up during the year, and the Division of Budget needs the funds, we might go a second time, but primarily we just do it once in the fall.
It is interesting how intelligent tax-exempt financing is starting to get, because with the different tranches, one tranche will be 10 years in duration or less, and the other one's longer term than that. So it's obviously different interest rate, but it's also got different types of investors.
That's correct, yeah.
And it's pretty cool the way they've started to figure it out and slice and dice the bond buying public or the bond buying institutions more appropriately. So
Mhm.
It's pretty interesting to see how it's all coming.
And we feel that, we're getting very good pricing by making it, smaller dollar amounts instead of going out to the large dollar size.
Well, I remember when, just to digress, Labenthal, remember all the TV ads that he did, and they had an open house. I
Yeah.
can't remember what mayor it was. And he came in and said, look, why is it that the smallest bond the city issues is 10 grand? Why don't you make it $1,000 and you get a lot more people buying it?
That's right.
And they said, gee, that's a good idea. And guess what happened? A
Mhm.
lot of people started buying it. The
Right.
butcher and the bakers started saying, kind of
Oh.
interesting.
Opens up the investor pool.
How wide a field do we go to get bidders to underwrite these bonds?
What we do is,
I mean, how is that done?
Yeah. First of all, I mentioned that we're going to have Craig work on this as our financial advisors. They will notify all the major firms, the Wall Street firms, our senior underwriters that this is coming. There's a lot of, publicity going, the week before we go to the market. so the firms know that we're going to be there. So we'll have communication with them. They know what the dollar size is going to be. They start to do their internal work there. And so we also ask them before we actually go on the day of the sale if they're going to be in the transaction. So we get a good feel that, that we'll get a good, response from the investment firms.
Also, the size of the transaction is, no one's going to miss it. I mean, this is,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So from start of putting out the bid to actually issuing is how long a period of
Well,
time?
but we're starting the work for December. It takes that amount of time that, we've already have, the information on the projects. We're starting to do some initial runs, very preliminary runs here. And, then the documentation starts to flow, and that's where the majority.
So
of
you're
the
starting
work-
now to get it done for December?
That's correct.
So 3 months?
Yes.
Okay, that sounds right.
And also, as I mentioned in here, we're doing the economic development funding here. And in order to get the tax exempt status for these projects, we have to, so when Brendan Healy, who is not here from our loans and grants area, does a great job in which, the tax attorneys are going over each of these projects, making sure that they're worthy of tax exempt financing. And we could finance up to 400 projects, so that's a very time-consuming process. And Brendan does a great job on that.
Sounds like our foundation, same kind
Yep.
of deal.
Yeah. So, the 3 months, it's filled with a lot of, documents flying and doing number of work.
It's a lot of work.
Mhm.
I think we have to take a motion. I forgot, we're still in a meeting, so.
But tell me, was it worth the wait?
It was good,
Okay.
excellent.
Okay.
Good, great job.
Mhm.
That one item carried the day. Any other questions or comments? Any comments from the public? Is there a motion to approve?
Move?
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent, Rob. Excellent.
Thanks
Thank you
very
so
much.
much.
Thank you. We haven't met. I'm Rob Gosling.